Welcome to Highfalutin Low Carb, the almost weekly web series, the almost monthly web series where we find and test the best low carb recipes this crazy internet has to offer. Today we're going to be tackling a remake of a very popular casserole recipe that's found probably in every family cookbook across America. Get ready for low carb chicken divan. Stay tuned. All right folks, chicken divan. There are a lot of recipes for this. I was at my family's home digging through old recipe books and recipe cards from the family for a little project that I'm working on. You'll stay tuned for that. But I kept coming across a recipe for chicken divan. Now I know, okay, I'm a Southerner. That's probably not pronounced correctly. Where I'm from, it is chicken divan. It's probably divine, who knows? In my part of the world, it's chicken divan. It was something that we were served at home. We were served at family reunions. We were served even at school. I distinctly remember it at school. Now, if you look, I've found a couple of recipe cards that were my mother's, and she's got several versions of chicken divan, an easy version, the official version. I prefer whole broccoli in it. It's basically broccoli chicken casserole with some cheese and a nice little Mornay sauce. But of course, in America, in the American South, what does almost every casserole recipe require? Yep, cream of mushroom soup. And the can of cream of mushroom soup is a time saver, but it is also full of tons of specious ingredients and a lot more carbs than we need. So that's the trick here, is creating something that can substitute for cream of mushroom soup, creating our own without actually making a soup to make a casserole. So today we're gonna be doing that. This recipe for the cream of mushroom soup substitute can be used across any kind of little casserole you wanna swap out. That's one of our secret weapons here for this remake. So stay tuned, we're gonna get started right now. Okay, so to begin this, we're actually gonna work backwards almost. We've pulled out the food processor because I need to process a couple of things. We're gonna start with the topping. Just so you know, just as a tip, I need some dry things processed in here and I need some wet things. So start with the dry first and you won't have to wash out the bowl. Our topping, as you know many times, starts with pork rinds. And I know pork rinds are not a favorite among a lot of you. But when used like this and mixed with Parmesan cheese, they make a really viable substitute for breadcrumbs. I know that a lot of people hate them. Give them a shot here. When you use them in recipes, if you've tried my, when we did the cornbread battle and made that Fluffy Chicks Cooks recipe of their cornbread, the main ingredient is freaking pork rinds, and it tastes amazing. So give it a shot. I'm not gonna lead you wrong here, okay? So we need about a half cup of crushed pork rinds. It's easier to do this in the food processor. So just do that real quick, buzz this up, dump them back in the bowl, and then we're gonna move on, okay? Now, I will be the first to admit, this doesn't smell great, okay? I mean, it's not the most pleasant smell in the world. Give it a break, give it a minute. Don't put your face down in it right when it's come out of the food processor. It's gonna stink, okay? But it gets better, I promise, okay? So just dump these back in the bowl they came from, and then we can get moving on the next part of this project. From here, we're gonna start with what will become our cream of mushroom soup. The cream of mushroom soup substitute that we're gonna use. And that's obviously gonna start with mushrooms and also a little bit of onion. You've always heard me say that, you know, if I can use a little bit of onion in a recipe instead of granulated onion, I will. There are still carbs in granulated onions. They're there, look them up. Just because the labeling laws don't require it to be labeled doesn't mean they're not existent, and they are. So I would rather use a little bit of white onion. Now we've talked about this too. Oh gosh, I forgot to put the blade in there. That helps, hold on, darn. Okay, here's my blade, finally. All right, so I'd rather start with a little bit of fresh onions. Let's do this again. In they go, and I've already, this is 1/3 of a cup of white onions. I've said it before, use white onions instead of yellow onions or sweet onions or Vidalia onions. The white onions have less carbs in them. Just if you check the USDA food database, you'll find out that white onions have a little bit less carbs. So we try to save where we can, but we want that flavor. So I'm gonna pulse this just a little bit. We want to get this stuff as fine as we can. We don't want big chunks of onions and mushrooms in this cream of mushroom soup because we want to sort of mimic the old school Campbell's cream of mushroom soup. So pulse this until you get, see there, sort of fine. Now to this, we are going to add 8 ounces of white button mushrooms. I measured these out after I took the stems out and got 8 ounces of those. Knock these onions down, and we are just gonna let this process until we get a very fine, like pasty meal out of this, and then we're gonna brown that in a pan with a little bit of butter. So you'll see what happens. So just let this go. What we have wound up here with is a very fragrant, very flavorful sort of paste of mushrooms and onions that we are going to brown in a pan. So let's get this out of here. It's not the prettiest stuff in the world, but there is a tremendous amount of flavor in this. This sort of melts away into nothing, into just flavor, which is what gives us our flavor. All right, so that's amazing that that's 8 ounces of white button mushrooms and 1/3 cup of white onions, and it really just becomes not much of anything. So put this aside. I'm going to quickly clean up here, swap appliances, get a pan heating, and I'll meet you back here in just a second. See you in a bit. Okay, so we are going to now try to create some sort of feasible substitute that we can use for the popular, ever popular Campbell's cream of mushroom soup. One thing that we need to do is go ahead and brown our chicken, and that's also going to allow some of the fond to create and brown in the bottom of the pan and give us some flavor while we're making our cream of mushroom soup, right? So to start with this, we're just going to add a little salt and pepper to, this is 1.5 pounds of boneless, skinless chicken thighs. You can of course use breasts. I personally think that thighs are more flavorful than breast. I like the fat in them. I like the flavor in them. So that's what I use. You use what you prefer. So a little bit of salt and pepper. And we are going to start with a tablespoon of bacon fat in this pan. And this is going to make a mess. I don't like to cook with too high a temperature on this pan right here, but so be it. Now, just get this chicken in the pan. So this is going to brown. We're going to brown these on both sides, cook it all the way through. Put your plate in the sink. Do not put your chicken back on here. Surely I don't have to say that. And I'm going to wash my tongs and myself. I'll be back. Okay, so our chicken is browning. Now while this browns, let's discuss the broccoli. Yes, you can use fresh broccoli, about 1 pound of fresh broccoli florets. And you need to pre-steam this or pre-cook the broccoli before you put it in the casserole pan. And you can do that on the stove in a steamer basket. This is also a very easy weeknight meal, and I want this to be easy. So what I usually do is go with a bag, steam-in bag of broccoli florets. You're going to have to use about 2 of them. While that's browning, I'm going to go ahead and put my first bag of this in the microwave behind me. I'm going to do both of these and put them in a greased 9x13 casserole dish. Finish browning this and take those up, and I'll meet you right back here, okay?
A few moments later.
All right, so we are going to pull up the chicken. It has browned and about as well as it's going to. You just want to make sure it's cooked through. You're not trying to fry chicken here or anything. But we're going to put this up on a clean plate and let this cool off, and then we're going to cube this into bite-sized pieces in just a little bit. Depending on how well your chicken was trimmed, you're going to probably have to pull off some of this. Leave a little bit of fat in the pan, leave all that beautiful fond, and then here's what we're going to do. Turn this back on. My gosh, we have made a mess. It is so greasy. It has splattered everywhere. I gotta wipe it down, hold on. Okay, glad I wore my apron today. Our chicken's cooling. We're gonna start this, and we're gonna begin with this. We're gonna throw some butter in, 2 tablespoons of butter. And to this pan, over about medium-low, maybe medium heat, we are going to now brown and saute our pureed onions, 1/3 cup of onions, and those mushrooms. We just want this to melt away, cook away. This won't take long because it's so fine. It has been pulverized in that food processor. But this is going to allow us to get all of this delicious flavor out of here. So let's just let this work. Medium-low heat, tend to it, stir it. We'll come back in probably 5 to 6 minutes. Okay, now you want to keep this moving, keep this cooking until basically this sort of dries up. We're trying to pull this moisture out of here and then brown and soften those pulverized onions. While you're doing this, scrape from the bottom, get all that browned chicken up. That's where a tremendous amount of flavor comes from. That's why we browned the chicken first. A few more minutes. So, we are almost ready. It's been about 6 or 8 minutes. This has dried out pretty well. It's not the most appetizing looking stuff in the world, but if you could smell it in here, it smells amazing. So from here, we're going to start adding a little bit of liquid to this and creating our cream of mushroom soup concentrate. And the first of those is a half a cup of white wine, just a dry white wine. If you don't want to use white wine, or you're not a drinker, you don't have any, don't buy any just for this recipe. It's only a half a cup. You can use chicken broth. But if you happen to have some, be sure to use it because it adds a lot of flavor. That little bit of acidity really does help. So put that in, let this cook down just a minute or two with the wine first, kind of scrape from the bottom, and then we're going to add our other ingredients. Now realize that I calculated these macros that I'm going to show at the end here, and I did include the half a cup of white wine. Yes, it has carbs, not a tremendous amount. It's 4 ounces. Half cup is about 4 ounces of wine. So in 6 servings, you're getting less than an ounce of wine. So, I mean, the carbs are negligible. We're going to add 3/4 of a cup of chicken broth and 3/4 of a cup of heavy whipping cream. And I just added those into one measuring cup just for ease of this demonstration. So put that in. And we're going to just turn this up and we're going to just let this reduce for about 6 or 8 minutes. We want to get it thick, but we have a secret ingredient I'm going to add shortly. Hold on. Carefully add back the reserved pan juices from all that chicken. There's so much flavor in there. Don't let that go to waste. Put that back in our sauce. Okay, this has been reducing for about 6 minutes now at a fairly rapid pace. I've got this on about medium-high. Just be careful and don't burn it. To this is the secret ingredient I was talking about that sort of thickens things up. This is 2 ounces of cream cheese. You can use xanthan gum, but I find truthfully that, and it works okay, but I just find the cream cheese just adds a whole lot of flavor and texture that's not gummy. You know what I mean? So add that in and slowly let that melt into this, and then we're going to take this up and let it cool for just a bit. Just let this cream cheese incorporate. Okay, we have let this reduce down now. This is our cream cheese and all the heavy cream and wine and chicken stock and our mushrooms and our onions, and we've made a close approximation of cream of mushroom soup. And I'm going to put this now, we need to just get it out of this pan and let it cool a little bit before we continue with the recipe. So I'm going to pull this up, just carefully pour this into a bowl that you can mix some other things with. Now, I have so much spatter around here, I bet my overhead lens looks like a heat lamp at the KFC. Let me just clean up, I'll be right back. I'll meet you back here in 5, 4, 3, 2. All right, so we're back. We are ready to assemble this casserole. And the first thing we're going to do is start with our broccoli that we have pre-steamed in a bag. What you want though is to get these approximately bite-sized, so we may need to cut these just a little bit. And this is going to be slightly more than a pound because depending on what store you shop at and what brand you buy, you might have trouble finding a 1 pound bag. So I had to use some 10-ounce bags. So we want these to be bite-sized pieces. So larger pieces, literally I just use a scissor, kitchen shears, and trim this up. Make sure you've got things that are bite-sized. You don't want something that's terribly unwieldy in a casserole trying to, you know, get a fork full. So from here, we're also going to add our chicken, which we need to dice. So let's do that. Okay, so now it's just time to create the sauce using our little bit of a soup base that we made. There's just a couple of extra items that need to go in here. This has cooled down a little bit. We got all of our chicken in here. And guys, to the commenters on some of my videos that have said, that casserole pan is filthy. Ugh, that's disgusting. Y'all, it's purple. It's a purple Pyrex pan. It's not dirty. I mean, give me some credit, okay? So, no, it's not a dirty, scorched casserole dish. It just happens to be purple. Perhaps I need to buy a clear one so that we can be clear on that. Anyway, so we've got our broccoli, our diced chicken, and now we're going to make the sauce. This is our sauce we've already made. To this, we are going to add a couple of things. One is 1/3 cup of mayonnaise. I use Duke's. If you happen to live in a part of the country that has Duke's, it's sugar-free. That's why I like to use it. And this is the little pouch that's exactly 1 cup. And it's made for, it's so cute. I don't know how to get into it. But isn't that cute? How do you open it? There we go. And it's for recipes. Pea pie. That is so cute. So you're just going to squeeze me about 1/3 cup of mayo in here, roughly. And then look, that little cap goes on there. And now that, Duke's, you smart. All right, so 1/3 cup of mayo to this. And this is 1/2 cup of shredded cheddar cheese that we're going to add in here. And the squeeze of a lemon, about 1/2 lemon, about a tablespoon of lemon juice. Just sort of adds a brightness to it. So it's really that simple. You might want to taste this. Make sure you don't need any salt and pepper. I did taste it earlier. Tastes just great. You just don't want things too salty. Pour this over. Just pour this over the casserole evenly. All we're going to do is bake this for about 30 minutes at 350 degree oven, uncovered. Shake it up good, get all the air bubbles out. And then about about 5 minutes before it's done, you're going to take those pork rinds you remember. We're going to add 1/2 cup of shredded Parmesan cheese. We're going to mix those together simply. And about 5 minutes before it's done, it needs to come out of the oven, about 25 minutes in, we're going to evenly sprinkle this mixture over the top of this and put it back in the oven just to let it brown and get our crunchy, crispy breadcrumb topping. Reserve that to the side. And now, in the oven this guy goes, and I'll meet you back here shortly. This is going to be delicious. Y'all, oh my gosh. Look at that. Look at that. Okay, y'all know me, be honest with you, they ain't much better than a casserole. My heart, literally, I get a little excited just looking at a 9x13 pan. You know, in this way of eating, so much of what we eat is a meat and a side of a vegetable, and I crave creamy, cheesy, crunchy, gooey casseroles. It's just, it's comfort food for me. And so often we can't participate because there's something like breadcrumbs or cream of mushroom soup that's in casserole recipes. But here we go. Okay, got my cafeteria spoon. Let's try this. Now, I have this at 6 servings. Gosh, that looks good. That looks so good. I'm gonna come in and get a little bit more. All right, let's see what this is like. Can you hear that crunchy top? I'm trying to hold it up to my microphone. It is beautiful, y'all. It's hot. Look at it. I've let it cool for 15 minutes before I've touched this. Y'all know me. I'm gonna burn my face off, but I gotta taste it. Come in here and snag a little piece of all of it. I need a piece of broccoli. I need some crunchy. I need a piece of chicken. Ooh, do y'all see that? It is hot as a firecracker. Let's see what we think. Y'all, that's a fork drop moment. That's a mic drop moment. That is so good. It tastes like all the casseroles that our mothers and grandmothers used to make. Creamy, crunchy topping. I can't stop eating it. And I know I say that about so many things, but good. Whew. Literally, I have sweat all over my face about it. Y'all, we did it. We did it again. For the constraints that we are under with low carb and that we can't use a lot of the convenience foods, that was a doggone easy recipe. Do not let the list of ingredients scare you. It's not a tremendous amount of work. So there you have it, folks. Low Carb Chicken Divan. Possibly one of the most popular casseroles in the United States, if not the world. As I always say, these videos are a way for me to maintain my low carb way of eating, and looking into the end of that camera every week or month or as often as I can keeps me honest. So I appreciate that you have come along for the journey. You guys help keep me honest, so thank you. If you are not a subscriber, I ask that you hit the subscribe button down below. If you are a subscriber, hit the bell button down below. That'll let you know just as soon as I release a new video. Head on over to my website, highfalutinlowcarb.com, and sign up for my email list. That's going to be the easiest way for me to communicate with you guys. And there are some exciting things coming down the pipeline in the next couple of months that you do not want to miss. Otherwise, check out my Patreon account. If you don't know what that is, think of Patreon as like the tip jar for the internet. It lets people like you who enjoy what people like me do here on YouTube, and it allows you to give $1 or $2 a month to sort of just keep this whole thing on the rails. Otherwise, there we have it. Low Carb Chicken Divan. I'll see you guys here in another week or two. Be good. Make this. If you try this, let me know down in the comments below what you think about it. Love you guys. I'll see you soon. Bye-bye.